Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate. Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So we were discussing last time, the text was talking about the evolution of the rajas aspect of the elements. So we had seen that there is a model of creation that is given in this text. There are various models that are given throughout our Shastra. This is being one particular model. Why are there various models? Because the Tatparya or the purport of Vedanta is not in creation. Ultimately, the very creation is dismissed as mithya, is dismissed as a projection, like a hologramic universe. In fact, any object you examine, it reduces itself to more and more parts, more and more parts. Finally, you end up in atoms, you end up in smaller and smaller particles. So, in fact, where do those particles end up? They all end up, they resolve in Brahman alone. The substratum or the basis for this whole creation, this whole universe is nothing but that one truth, that one consciousness, which is Brahman. So we had seen this evolution of the sattva aspect last time. The sattva aspect evolves into forming the sattva aspect, the sense organs, the sense powers. And the collective sattva aspect goes to form the thinking faculty, the antahkarana. It's a very beautiful model because the antahkarana originally was sattva. It was the form of knowledge. Sattva means knowledge. Sattva signifies peace. Sattva is that quality which we all try to aim for. So this antahkarana, which is a sattvika antahkarana, that is produced by the sattva, collective sattva of all the elements. Now the evolution of the rajas aspect, the collective rajas aspect, what does the collective rajas evolve into? So this rajas aspect evolves into the 5 pranas. So the rajas amsa, the rajas part of each element goes to form an organ of action, actually. It forms an organ of action because it is rajas alone. The collective rajas is the prana, which is the fuel that backs the action. So when you are weak in action, we saw the pranic self is weak. So rajas aspect of each element goes to the quality of activity. So what is the akasha, the space, the rajas aspect of space? It is highly connected to the vak. The rajas aspect of space goes to form the speech, aspect of speech. And the speech is highly connected to the mind also. So if you want to discipline the ways of thinking, if you want to discipline your speaking, then you manage the akasha, you can balance the akasha element in your system as well. So the speech, very important, the vak becomes very important. The tongue can really, can make you or break you. They say that talking meaningfully, talking consciously, talking deliberately, this is very important in spiritual life. That is why this rajas has to be reduced more and more in this aspect. We don't talk when it is unnecessary. Don't talk when we have pressure to talk. The best way is to discipline the thinking. So the thinking is connected to the tongue. And one who is controlled in this level of the speech is called yukta cetasa. Yukta cetas means one who is very moderate in their speech. They're moderate in everything, but speech is one particular place there they are very moderate in. This rajas aspect of the subtle aspect of air, the subtle air, rajas aspect, it goes to form the strength in your hands. There's a strength in your hands is because of the rajas in the air. So it is very interesting because air is always connected, vayu is always connected to strength. So Hanuman, Bhima, how are they all born? You see that they're born from vayu's grace, actually. These particular beings in our Shastra, they take place because of vayu's blessing. They're born from vayu's grace. So the strength is from vayu. The rajas aspect of sukshma agni, sukshma fire, is for the feet. It is for locomotion. The fire, it gives you the fuel to walk in life, the fuel to move your legs, the fuel to go around in life. We saw also the rajas aspect of water. Jalam is the water. We say waterworks. In English also it is there, the waterworks, which is forming the organs of evacuation. The rajas aspect goes to form that. And the rajas aspect of prithivī is the organ of procreation. And the total rajas of all the elements, the rajas is the aspect of activity in the creation, in the universe, that quality in Maya of activity, that rajas of total rajas of all the elements go to form the pancha pranaha, or the entire physiological system, which is prana, apana, vyana, samana, udana. All of this keeps life going, keeps a person active in life, gives energy to the human being to function in life. So the inhalation prana is the rajas of space, the apana. So the five pranas, vital airs, also correspond to the rajas of the subtle elements, the rajas aspect. So the prana, the inhalation, rajas of space is the inhalation. Apana, the evacuation, rajas of air forms evacuation, the vital air of evacuation. Vyana, the vital air that circulates, the circulatory system in the body, is the rajas of fire. Samana, the rajas, samana, which is the digestive system, requiring saliva, requiring certain liquids and everything in the stomach. The digestion is the rajas of water. And the rajas of earth is the expulsion system, like vomiting, all of that. That is the udana prana, which is the fifth prana. So all this, you can see that. So each element we had seen, when Maya, it is born from Maya to create this universe, it contains three qualities, the sattva, rajas, and tamas. So how beautifully the text says, the sattva goes to form something of the subtle elements. The rajas aspect goes to form something else in our experience in this life. And the tamas is the only part which is left out. We have not seen tamas yet. So today we are going to see what is tamas. The tamasika aspect of all the elements and all the elements, which is the space, the air, the fire, the water, and the earth, the tamas aspect goes to form the whole universe that we see, the names and forms in the universe, the gross universe. The tamas aspect gives birth to this grossified form of the universe, including the physical body. So the physical universe and the physical body is because of the tamas aspect. So the text says, eteṣāṃ pañcatattvānāṃ tāmasāṃśāt pañcīkrita pañcatattvāni bhavanti etebhyah pañcīkrita panchamahābhūtebhyah stūla shariram bhavati evam pinda brahmandayoho aikyam sambhūtam. Very interesting. So the 19 sukshma, the 19 aspects of the sukshma prapancha, sukshma world, the subtle world, the 5 sukshma elements, the 5 subtle elements form the 24 tattvas of this creation. The subtle world is formed from the 24 tattvas, and the tamas aspect of all the 5 subtle elements undergoes a process of grossification. This is a very scientific model. Of course, it is not as per science, modern science, but this is what the rishis have seen. It is a very interesting model as well. The tamas aspect undergoes a grossification process, and this grossification process is called pañcīkaranam. Pañcīkaranam is where all the gross elements are born. So until now, the subtle elements alone were addressed. Now they undergo grossification, and the whole universe and the gross body is born. So from the particles, the subtle world, there is no object at all on the particle level. And these particles, they come together, join together to form the gross world that we see. This is called stula prapancha. This gross world that we see of elements is called stula prapancha. It is born from the sukshma prapancha, or the subtle world. So gross matter, we know, is converted to energy, and energy is again converted to matter. It is a law of conservation. In fact, nothing is destroyed. As I always say, there is only 2 states for the whole universe, including ourselves: manifest state, unmanifest state. There is no other state, actually. We're either in unmanifest connection, which we call death, but the Shastra does not look at it as death. You have just gone into potential state, and then you manifest again, maybe in another body, you take another form. That is called the manifest state, or vyakta prapancha. So on the quantum level, the process of grossification, pañcīkaranam, it takes place. The 5 elements, subtle elements, account for this sukshma sharira, and this tamas aspect is going to undergo a change. How does it work? It is said here very, very mathematical. Pañcīkaranam katam iti chet. What is this pañcīkaranam? Eteṣāṃ pancamahabhūtānāṃ tamasa amsha swarupam ekam ekam bhutam dvida vibhajya ekam ardam pritak ekam ardam pritak. Then we'll see up to this, and we'll see after. So a lot of philosophies, ancient philosophies actually around the globe, they classify this composition of this universe into 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether or space. These are called in our Shastra as Pancha Mahabhutas, or the 5 great elements. And knowledge of these 5 elements helps us to understand the laws of nature, actually. So each of these 5 elements represents a state of matter in nature. Solid matter is called the earth element. Water is anything liquid that we see. Air is everything that is gas. Fire, that is why fire is worshipped, actually. Very much in our Vedic culture, fire is very respected. It is worshipped. Fire transforms one state of matter into another. and ether or space is where everything takes place. So how does this Panchikaranam take place? So it makes each element fivefold. It is called, this is called Panchikaranam, the process. What was not fivefold, it makes fivefold. And it is a very, very interesting model. So in Akasha, what happens? In Akasha, there is a presence of the other four subtle elements also. So each element will have the presence of the other elements in a certain measure. Similarly, Vayu or air and the other four elements will have the presence fractionally of other elements. The same with all the elements is like that. We'll see a little bit how it works. eteṣāṃ pañcamahabhūtānāṃ tāmasamsha swarupam. The tamas aspect of each of the subtle elements, what happens to it? This book says, ekam bhūtam dvivida vibhajya. First, the process of grossification is the tamas aspect of each subtle element divides into two. It splits into two. Half of this is the original element, and the other half becomes divided into four. So it is like half. We'll take space, for instance, or let's take water. Water, the subtle element of water, splits into two, and half remains water. What happens to the other half? The other half, it gives itself 1/8 to the other elements. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. So 1/8 it gives itself to, if we take water, 1/8 of water goes into air. 1/8 of water will go into space. 1/8 of water will go into fire. 1/8 of water will go into earth. This is very, very interesting, mathematical. So ekam ardam pratak tushnim vyavastapya. Each of them separate half, leave half alone. The other half, you do Panchikaranam, the grossification. So one half is given to the other four elements. So Akasha, one half is given to the other four elements. Vayu, air, one half is given to the other four elements. Agni, fire, one half is given to the other four elements. And the same with Prithvi, the earth is given to the other elements. Then it says, Swardhamanyeshu ardeshu swabhaga chatushta samyojanam karyam. Each of the elements still retains half of its own self. So Agni, fire, continues to be half Agni. Vayu, air, continues to be half air. So the other half is constituted of all the other elements. So if we look at percentages, 50% is retained, and each of the other elements gets 12.5% of the other element. This is very interesting to see, actually. I was just doing a bit of research. Even in modern science, you see, there is a constituent of another element in a particular element. If you say, if you take chemical composition of fire, it includes the property of all the other elements, actually. So in that combustion reaction, which creates fire, there's a carbon-based fuel, generally, earth, which is carbon-based. It burns in air, oxygen, and fire contains gases from the fuel, like carbon dioxide, water, nitrogen, oxygen. So very interesting. So the basic components of soil, if you take as well, are minerals, organic matter, water, air. So you even take these elements, they contain a bit of the other elements together, just as this model, the rishis are saying. So Akasha, none of the elements lose their names. Akasha still remains Akasha, predominant, although it contains 1/8 of the other elements. Etebhyaha panchikrita panchamahabhutebhyaha stula shariram bhavati. I'm going through a bit quick, so don't worry. I will send the diagrams, which will make it all easier, because a lot of mathematics. This is called Rishi physics, Rishi maths. The amazing how they have thought about this. So all the 5 elements you see, these elements are available. 5 gross elements go to make the universe. The 5 gross elements constitute the physical body of all as well. The same 5 elements in the universe constitute your physical body. And without the sukshma, without this subtle body which pervades the physical body, this stula shariram, this physical body, is actually inert. It is called pañcabhautika, or composed of 5 elements. It's made of 5 elements. But it is dependent, both are dependent on consciousness for existence. The whole of Sanatana Dharma culture is invoking the sentient in the inert. The conscious being is invoked in anything inert. That is why we do, even in the temples, we do prana pratishta to the murti in the temple. It is invested with life. Prana pratishta means what? It is given life through the mantra chanting, through the placement of yantra under the murti. There is an elaborate process of actually making that murti come alive. So that is what is called, in the Sanatana Dharma, invoking the sentient in the insentient. And this is why whole bhavana invokes the subtle in the gross. Even this gross body, it is nothing without the Atma. It is nothing without the reflection of consciousness that brings it to life. So when Panchikaranam is done, the gross elements become the gross universe. Whatever you perceive, all the various names and forms and functions are nothing but elements and elementals that you see in life. This one body is called Pinda. This is very interesting because even on this physical body level, you are one with the universe, actually. One body is called Pinda in the Shastra. The whole universe is called Brahmanda. So the Jagat, the Brahmanda, includes the Pinda, the individual. You are not separate from all this universe. The same composition of this physical body is the composition of this universe. In that level also, you are one with the universe. So Brahmanda and Pinda, there is a certain oneness. Even on the physical gross level, there is a oneness. The elements and elementals constitute the Pinda, Brahmanda, Aikyam, the oneness of both. And there is a certain identity between the two, because one is not independent of the other. Both are 5 elements. And the interesting thing, now we go to a little bit of Ayurveda, which is also connected. The elements in the human body are also closely related to the elements in the nature, because all of the creation we have seen is made up of this grossified 5 elements in different proportions. Those grossified 5 elements are present in this physical body. This is basic biology. Actually, we know this. That's the brilliance of it. The human body is also the product of these 5 elements. 72% water, we say. These percentages, depending on what what you read, can differ. But generally, 72% is, they say, water. The 12% or something like that is earth. 6% of this physical body is air. 4% is fire, and the rest is ether. And each element is responsible for different structures of our physical body. The earth in our body forms, solid tissues, like solid things like teeth, nails, bones, muscles, skin, tissues, hair. All of this gives structure and strength to the physical body, gives it that strength and structure. Water in the body forms saliva, urine, blood, semen, sweat, all of this. So water is very much present in our physical body. Fire, how do we see fire in the body? Fire forms the temperature, body temperature. Fire is responsible for hunger, thirst, eyesight. Even the skin complexion is because of the fire. That's why we say in our Shastra, when we say somebody has a very, very radiant face, we say he's got tejas on his face. His face is radiating tejas. Why? That fire, it comes out through the face. You can invoke that. Air in the body is what? Air is responsible for all the movement, including, expansion, vibration, all of that contraction. Air is responsible for this in the body. And of course, space, we know, space is the most subtle of the elements, and it is present in all the hollow cavities of the body, like the stomach or the brain. Some people's brains may be hollow. So it is present in different parts of the body. And the prana, the vital force in the human body, is also directly connected to these 5 elements. So the law, it's very interesting, because the law of nature says that you are healthy when these 5 elements are in balance in your physical body. That is what Ayurveda is based on, actually, the balance of the elements in your physical body. So any kind of imbalance is the cause of many diseases that we face. So you see, like any chronic disease or is because of impurities in the elements in the bodies. The elements in the body are out of balance. Like if we take the imbalance of the space element in our Shastra, what is the imbalance of space element linked to? The space is imbalanced in you, like you had visible disorders start to manifest, like thyroid problems. Problems with thyroid are connected to that. Blood pressure is connected to the, not blood pressure, throat problems, space element, speech disorders, even ear diseases, because we know space and sound are connected. If you remember, we saw previously. So all these type of illnesses or disorders come because of the imbalance of space element in a physical body. If you have imbalance of the air element in the body, so what does air, if you have imbalance of air, lead to? Skin dryness, blood pressure problems, actually blood pressure problems because of air, because circulation, lung disorders, that is very clear why lung is connected to air, bloating, constipation, all of this is because there's imbalance of air. And air, very interestingly, is also responsible, imbalance of air, for mental illness. So mental also illness is because of imbalance of air in the body. Things like lethargy, depression, all of this is because of the imbalance of air. Insomnia, all of this air. Fire, what happens is fire is not in balance in a physical body. Fire, we know, temperature, anything connected with temperature is fire. If the fire is out of balance, fever, any kind of inflammation, increased heat in the, increased heat in the body. It's very interesting. I don't know whether you've heard of this phenomenon called spontaneous combustion. You might have read about it. Why do people suddenly burn up and burn to the crisp without even having, being lit on fire or anything? Suddenly they combust from within, right? I don't know whether they found a reason for it, but we would say it is imbalance of the fire element in the physical body. This type of imbalance happens, then there is every chance of the body catching fire, of the body burning, because it is all elements and elementals alone. So excessive sweating, hyperacidity, digestion, bad digestion, all of this. Diabetes is also linked to the imbalance of fire in the body. Imbalance of water in the body, cold, sinusitis, all of these linked with any kind of, excessive mucus, edema, blood clots, all of this because of water imbalance. And imbalance of earth is general weakness. Earth is always linked to weight. So either weight gain or weight loss is because of imbalance of earth in the body. Obesity, cholesterol, all of this is because of earth element not being in balance. And the interesting thing, all of this, what is going on in the physical body is going on in the universe as well at the same time. Amazing. We are connected on this level, physical level as well. Because a tamas aspect is, as the Shastra has said, of the elements has gone to form this pinda. Brahmanda is exactly the reflection of this on the mass scale, on the global scale, on the universal scale. Not just is this physical body connected to the body outside. This physical body is connected to every other physical body. I am not different from other physical bodies. Externally, maybe people appear differently. There may be height differences, color differences. There may be differences in features. But this body functions, the order. How amazing that all of this functions like this, right? It is intelligently put together. No human being can put it together. It is a gift given by Ishvara. He is the one who makes everything function within the physical form. Involuntary breathing, we don't even think. Day in, day out, we survive because the involuntary functions that are happening within this physical miracle of physical form. We need no other miracle to reveal Ishvara to us. Our very self, this physical universe, this physical body included in the physical universe is enough to reveal Ishvara to us. And all of this is Maya products. All of these are products of Maya. And we know Maya itself is mithya. Anything that is born out of Maya is mithya. So, it has undergone change to become this Jagat. We saw that the qualities of Maya, Trigunatmika Maya has Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and we have seen how the model that our rishis have created, this model has gone to become the whole universe. So the Jagat, which has undergone this process of grossification to become what it is with the names and forms and so many millions of species we see of plants, of trees. Even if you go to a neighboring country, you will find different trees, different plants, different foliage, different species of birds and plants. What a miracle that this one has become as though many. That is the miracle. There's only one ultimately. Through this miracle process, which we call creation, grossification, it has as though become many. Again, when you reduce everything down, the many down, where do you end up? You reduce it cognitively, where do you end up? Always we end up in Satchitananda Atma. They always end up in the same place, Satchitananda. The causeless cause, there is only one causeless cause, for which there is no other cause. Every other thing you can resolve into its cause. Every effect you see in this universe resolves into its cause. You just try it as a mental exercise. Mentally resolve. Even you take anything, take a tree. You resolve the tree into its cause. What is the tree's cause? First of all, the tree itself is built up of parts. The branches, the trunk, the leaves, the twigs, everything go to form the tree. Now you resolve the tree into its cause. What is the cause of the tree? You will say the seed. Resolve the seed into its cause. Where does the seed end up? That seed was from another fruit from that tree, right? That's the amazing thing. Then what? Then it keeps going back, infinite regression. Where do you go? Where does it stop? Does it stop? Yes. Because the rule is there has to be a changeless basis for anything to change on. Like the changeless basis for the movie is the movie screen. The movie screen never changes. It is the movie that keeps changing. Different scenes keep happening. There has to be a changeless basis for the train to run on the track. The tracks remain rooted to the earth. The train is changing, it runs on the track. There's a changeless basis for cars to drive on the road. The road doesn't keep moving along with the car. Then what's the point in driving? Of course, we have these walking escalators now in Heathrow and everything, where you walk and that's also moving. You're also walking and you seem to be going faster. But still, that walking escalator is still rooted to the earth. There is a changeless, always you see, a changeless basis for changes to happen. For us, that changeless basis is Brahman. pure limitless consciousness. It is like the screen of the universe on which everything is projected, including yourself. You are part of this projection. You are also playing a role in this movie with this grand movie we call life. Nobody is useless in life. Shastra is very, Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, every person, everything in this creation has some use or other. No one is useless. You may think you're useless, but you have a role to play. There is a purpose for you to be on this planet. Everybody has a role to play on this earth. So there is a use for everything. So the sukshma, the gross universe is made of the elements, including your physical. The miracle of this physical body belongs to the miracle of the universe as well. And even on the sukshma level, we are all connected, because the sukshma sharira, subtle body, is made from the subtle elements. The subtle universe is also made from the subtle elements. Where am I separate even on the subtle level? There is a oneness on both these levels at all. And here we are talking about absolute oneness, which is the nature of the self, the nature of Ishvara, that is the absolute oneness. The sense, so we see how the connections happen. The sense organs perceive, and the mind together, you get knowledge. When the sense organs perception of this world, some object it perceives, it brings in data. The mind, the sattvika aspect, collective, it registers the data. That is what is called knowledge. This is what keeps the sense organs and the mind, keep the body going, keep the mind going. They provide you the ability to interact with the world. The organs of action and the pancha pranas that go along with the organs of action, the 5 vital airs that propel or they give fuel for your karmendriyas, the organs of action, they are the data output. So the sense organs with the mind are the data input for you in life. How you respond to the data is because of your organs of action and the mind together. The organs of action should not respond without mind backing. That is the key. My mind should always be alert to what my hand is doing. That is called mindfulness. I should be alert. My leg should not be moving always without my volition. I should have total, that is called mastery over myself. Mastery over where my sense organs go, mastery over where my karmendriyas, where my organs of action also go. So this is the whole model of creation, the model of this universe. Everything is either in subtle form or in gross form. Nothing is destroyed. That is the beauty of it. You are never destroyed in life. You are always recycled. We are all recycled. Best recycling is Bhagavan, actually. Even our trash, we recycle. This body also becomes trash one day. It is recycled. It, in fact, goes to form fertilizer for plants and other things so that other people can live. We may be even eating other people. So if anybody, that nutrition in the soil, if everybody's, we can never claim to be totally vegetarian because other people are providing the plant's nutrition, right? The growth of everybody is non-veg in some way or other. So it is all recycled. Everything is going around, and all we see, this whole idea of this model that is given in Tattvabodha is to show that there is oneness on all levels. There is oneness on the individual level with the gross level with the universe. There's oneness in the subtle level with the universe. And intrinsically, the nature of yourself is also the nature of Brahman, which is the nature of the substratum of the universe. So the whole cosmos, now we see, whole cosmos is Ishvara for us. That is why we have in Vishnu Sahasranama, very beautiful Dhyana Shloka, Bhuv Pado Yasya Nabir Vyada Sura Nilas Chandra Suryo Chanetre. If you read the meaning of that verse, You look upon Ishvara as the whole cosmos. The sun and moon are his eyes. His head is the heaven. His space is the body. The air is his breath. And the water is his stomach. And the earth is his feet. His feet is the earth. So this is our understanding of Ishvara actually. He is all, in everything. There is not one place where he is not. And that is why in Vedic culture, we can invoke Ishvara in anything. We can look at the sun and chant, Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. The sun is Ishvara for us. The sun corresponds to my buddhi. That is why I chant Gayatri mantra. The sun has capacity to light up my intellect, to give me proper thinking, proper direction in life. The sun becomes Ishvara for us. The moon becomes Ishvara for us. Any object I take can become Ishvara for us. So the upadana karanam, which is the material cause, the medium through which we invoke the nimitta karanam. That's a beautiful thing, actually, because Bhagavan Ishvara is seen in twofold ways. He's seen as the intelligent cause of the universe. He is also seen as the material cause of this universe. He is given the title Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, which means the non-separate material and intelligent cause for this universe. And I invoke that intelligence. How? Through the material, I can invoke the intelligent. So this is how understanding this, what happens, I can really, really relax in life, because anyone I meet is Ishvara alone. What I see is only the pancha bhautika sharira. I only see the 5 elements, the 5 elemental model of their body. That body is pervaded by the sukshma sharira, which is the subtle body. That makes that person come alive. That makes the person relate in life. That person is relating only due to Ishvara's grace. Everything is Ishvara for us. So we, as Vedanta people, we look beyond the physical. We see the sentience behind the insentient. We see the intelligence behind the material. And whole of Vedic Sanatana Dharma is this invoking the intelligence behind the material. Even the morning when we do Abhisheka, very beautiful significance. The lingam is not just one spherical rock. It is not just a stone. It has symbolism. It represents the whole cosmos in potential form. In one form, our Shastra says, if you bring the whole cosmos together in one form, it will form the shape of a lingam, Brahmanda, like an egg. We have even analogies in different cultures to this cosmic egg. Lingam is actually a cosmic egg. So the Shastra says, when you do Abhisheka, when you pour that liquid on that lingam and charge it with mantra chanting, you're actually doing Abhisheka to the whole universe. The whole universe in potential form, you're doing Abhisheka to. That is what it represents. That is what Sanatana Dharma culture is. So with that, I will finish for today. We will see the next very interesting section, Ishvara and the Adhisthana Devatas, the presiding deities of the, of the universe. So each order in this universe has a presiding deity, just as each order within the individual we've seen has a presiding deity. Like an order behind my eyes, we saw was Aditya, sun, the ability to be able to see. So we will see on the cosmic level, the deities also next time. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.